Husker Games. This was announced since our last show on Thursday. No red-white spring game for football, so Nebraska Athletics is going to change up a whole day of events on April 26th. You will be able to get a tour of the Osborne Legacy Complex. You will be able to go to what we've just been referring to as a garage sale. It's a gear and merchandise sale that you'll be able to get in there. There will also be events at Memorial Stadium. There will be a women's flag football game, and then there will be Husker football and maybe some former players and some fan engagement opportunities in what will look like the NFL Pro Bowl, where there's kind of skills competitions. You'll still be able to get into Memorial Stadium, take families around, all of that. There will be a free to get into soccer exhibition against Wyoming. Get over to Hibner. That's a phenomenal facility in what you have here, and that has been a program that has had more than a modicum of success over the last few years and put a couple of players into the professional ranks, both here and abroad. And you close it all up with Danny Bust Boom Kelly making her coaching debut at Nebraska at the Bob Devaney Sports Center, taking on Kansas, where Matt Ulmer is making his coaching debut there after several years at Oregon. That'll be the expensive one to get into. Everything else is pretty relatively priced in to get families into. Your initial thoughts on, and I'll just say right away, I'm for this. I'm for this because you're not getting a football game. And I know that there will be people that are negative Nancy's on it until they get there and realize it's okay.
Yeah.
Because you have to accept, first of all, that there's not going to be a football game. Once you have that acceptance, yeah, the day seems pretty fun. Where are you at on the Husker Games?
Well, we always find it very handy to have the pocket schedule for the upcoming football season. I feel like we need a pocket schedule for the timeline of events for this thing, because there's a lot.
That, by the way, huskermax.com and find all of the links to Nebraska on SI or si.com/college/Nebraska. You can get the links to all of that in the YouTube down below in the description. But yes, if you find that, you work your way over to the football tab. We do have the schedule in there. It's a full day, Nick. It's a full friggin' day.
It's a full day, and it. I think a lot of us kind of laugh because, like, okay, what else can you throw into that day? What else? I mean, is there something we're not thinking of that you could possibly introduce to it? But in all seriousness, at the end of the day, the one thing I feel has always been a big deal about the spring game is the ability to show up at the stadium, have a little bit of some of those pregame chants and a little bit of that fanfare that you get on a regular fall Saturday afternoon. And you get a chance to experience that a little bit early. And I think that always gets people fired up for the season. And yeah, then after a while, you're watching a couple of the new additions, you're seeing how they perform, but you understand, most Nebraska fans understand that they're not necessarily performing under the most dire circumstances or the most duress because it's a controlled scrimmage environment. So the other part about what makes the spring game important is that fan engagement, is that togetherness, is getting thousands upon thousands of Husker fans in Lincoln to really embrace this football team. And with all of these things, you have a chance to still do that. And you're right. This is where you and I have talked about this. We've got to get comfortable and being uncomfortable when it comes to how we now consume the product away from the season, because college football coaches, college athletic directors all across the country are doing similar things like this, especially ones that usually have great turnouts for their spring game, of how they can protect the players, how they can abide by the wishes of their coaches of not exposing them to potential transfer market, but also keeping the fans engaged. I will tell you this. I love the garage sale idea. That is a fantastic idea.
Number one for everybody. Everyone is all in on that, and then kind of a la carte the rest of the way. It's kind of, okay, I might, if I can afford it, I'll go to volleyball. If I want to just kind of get the family into Memorial Stadium for $10 or whatever, like a regular spring game, yeah, I'll do that. If I can afford it, I'll go to the Legacy Osborne Complex tours. I'll maybe I'll go hit up Hibner because I want to watch a little soccer. I've got soccer, and there's no Premier League on at that time. But number one for everybody is that garage sale. It's the merchandise sale, which, by the way, you do have to have a ticket. Like, you get into that for free, but you do have to have a ticket to one of the other events for that day. Here's what those are. So you have that equipment sales from 9 to 1, free admission with a purchase ticket to any of the Husker Games events. So you also have the Osborne Legacy Complex tours from 8 to noon. That's $50. The Husker Games with football tickets are $10 for adults, $1 youth, $20 in the West Club at Memorial Stadium there, where that's also got a women's flag football game. And it's got your 7-on-7 and skills contests, those things going on. 2 o'clock is when you'll get the Husker football activities. The soccer match, that is free admission. Mm-hmm. Volleyball starts at $10 for students, works its way up to $20, $30, $45, $60, depending on where you are. There'll also be $15 parking. So whether you go from free to the soccer up to the $60 courtside at Devaney, you have to have a ticket to something Husker Games, and you get in free to the garage sale.
Exactly. And I mean, how many times do people want, you're wearing something like, oh, is that team issued? You get team issued stuff. I mean, they're selling team issued stuff. The other thing that because I think it's going to be hilarious, we've been around a lot of the football alum in our time. We know how intense some of those guys still are. You just don't lose that. So that game, whoever is involved, it's going to get chippy. There is going to be some intensity there. So I think that's going to be fun, because that's the other thing about this fan base. We love seeing the old players that gave so much great moments in that stadium, to see them competing in their latter years. Some will be different than others when it comes to how much latter that is. I think that's going to be fun. And yeah, look, you brought up the NFL, very similar to what the NFL has done. The NFL decided to pivot too, because again, player safety concerns, that they didn't want to have a game, but they also wanted to put on some type of showcase of skills and at least provide something for the fans that were interested in still consuming that product. That's exactly what the athletic department's doing. And the access that they're trying to also allow you to have, it's going to cost money, but look, they got to make some money as well. If you want to be the football program and the athletic department that you want this thing to be, you got to be able to make a little bit of money off that. But I can tell you, seeing portions of the Osborne Legacy Complex myself, that is something that pictures do not do it justice.
Yeah.
So if you have a chance to do that, I encourage you to take advantage of all the different access that they're giving you. Now, I understand, hey, everybody has different budgets. So obviously that's something, but the best part about it is by the time you get to Lincoln in the morning to the time you'd want to go to bed and leave Lincoln, there is something going on that I think can attract a different type of the Nebraska audience. So if you're going to do something, you're going all in, you're making it big. And I'm sure they're doing all this and going to observe, hey, what worked, what didn't, what can we tweak going forward? I mean, this is the trial run for this. So we'll see what happens going forward. But I just like that you're involving your fans. You're giving them plenty of options. There's still a chance to see some football, to see the football players. You'll be able to see Dylan throw a couple of dimes here and there. You're going to be able to see what the arm looks like. There are guys you'll have a chance to get some eyes on as well. But more than anything, there's going to be sort of a fun family feel to it, which I think that really – I think that hits the nail on the head as far as this fan base and this football program. And more importantly now, an all-encompassing athletic department experience.
And hopefully next year when it comes back around, you take you see what works this year, what doesn't work. Obviously, you make those changes. Hopefully, one of the baseball or softball team is not on either coast, because you guys will be. It's like I think Washington and Maryland.
Yep, we'll be in Maryland for that one.
Yeah, is where so both coasts. So you don't get anything happening at Haymarket Park. Hopefully next year that can work out to where there is something that you can time out to happening out there, because I know how much fun that was to go spring game at Memorial Stadium and then people just walk over to Haymarket Park for a baseball game or a softball game that